The old adage, if you haven't got anything good to say, don't say anything at all, has never really been followed in Formula One, and now George Russell and Max Verstappen are willing to expose their dirty laundry in public following their spat at the Qatar Grand Prix. And Russell went all out. He really doesn't like Verstappen, and now he wants us all to turn against him. How? By stating the worst things Verstappen said last week, which according to Russell crossed the line. George Russell has condemned Max Verstappen's accusations of him as bullying techniques, after saying that the world champion threatened to put my effing head in the wall in Qatar. Verstappen hit out at Russell during last weekend's race in Losail, saying he had lost all respect for the Briton after the manner he acted during a steward's hearing, which resulted in him losing pole position for impeding. Speaking in Abu Dhabi on Thursday, the Dutchman reiterated his statement, calling Russell's actions shocking in attempting to get him a penalty. But Russell has not taken Verstappen's comments lightly and said he will not accept remarks that he thinks are disrespectful and unnecessary, considering how he had been personally threatened last weekend. He even clapped back at Verstappen in some of his statements. This feud will surely be the talk of the weekend. Russell said, "I find it all quite ironic, considering Saturday night, he said he's going to purposely go out of his way to crash into me and, quote, put me on my effing head in the wall." To question somebody's integrity as a person while saying comments like that the day before, I find it very ironic, and I'm not going to sit here and accept it. People have been bullied by Max for years now, and you can't question his driving abilities, but he cannot deal with adversity whenever anything has gone against him. Jeddah 2021, Brazil 2021, he lashes out. Budapest this year, very first race, the car wasn't dominant, crashing into Lewis, slamming his team. As I said, for me, those comments on Saturday night and Sunday were totally disrespectful and unnecessary, because what happens on track, we fight hard. It's part of racing. What happens in the steward's room? You fight hard, but it's never personal. But he's taking it too far now. Russell stated that he had no desire in speaking with Verstappen and questioned why more drivers had not spoken out against the Dutchman's actions. "I just don't know why other drivers have when they've been in this battle with him. Just sort of made it so easy and just let it be," Russell went on. "Lewis is a world champion who I aspire to be like, and I think he is a gold standard of a role model that younger kids should be looking up to. And the way Lewis dealt with that championship fight, he was hard, he was aggressive, he was always respectful, and he never went beyond the line. You can go beyond the line in making a slight misjudgment, but going out of your way to say you will purposefully crash into somebody and put them on the head is beyond the line." When asked why he chose to speak out now, Russell replied, "Because he's come out in the media. I feel he has disrespected me as a driver. I've known him for 12 years. We've had respect with one another beforehand. We've never had any collisions. But we've got a guy who's on the top of this sport and who feels he's above the law. I don't think that's right. I admire his on-track battles, and when he is hard and aggressive. But what we saw at the end of the season in 2021, or what we saw in Mexico with Lando Norris, they weren't hard, aggressive maneuvers. They were do or die. I'm willing to take this guy out, which I don't think is the way we should go racing." But that wasn't it. In another interview, Russell went even deeper into what was stated and his thoughts on Verstappen. This time he took aim at Verstappen personally. "Like I said to you before, he cannot deal with adversity. He's had the most dominant car in recent history for 2.5 years. I'm not questioning his driving abilities one single bit, but the second, he does not have the fastest car. Let's take Budapest as an example. He crashes into Lewis, he slams his whole team, and he loses the plot. Straight away after that race, 25% of his engineering team were sending their CVs to Mercedes, to McLaren, to Aston Martin, because they said they can't deal with a guy like that. And since Austria, he's won the same number of races as 6 other drivers. So when you say, is Max beatable? Of course he's beatable. When he's in the most dominant car, he is not beatable. The same way as Lewis and I when we had the most dominant car in Silverstone in Las Vegas, we were not beatable either. I think he's been enabled. because nobody stood up to him. Lewis stood up to him in 2021, and Lewis lost that championship unfairly. Could you imagine the roles being reversed and Max losing that championship in the manner that Lewis lost that championship? I mean, former FIA race director Michael Massey would have been fearing for his life. Russell added, "So, as I said, some of the recent incidents, he has been punished, and he punished himself. Mexico with the reckless overtakes, Budapest with the reckless overtake, but it's just in the past. He has such a dominant car, he's not been in this position." I think the FIA are pretty on it now. And I don't think much needs to change from their viewpoint, because he's going to punish himself one way or another. I'm not looking to get Max penalised. I'm not looking for any repercussions from this. I am standing up for myself, for a guy who is coming out, questioning my integrity as a person, slamming me in the press. And I just want to set the record straight. As I said, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but, for me, he crossed a line at the weekend, and that was too much. I honestly think it could have been anybody in that steward's room and Max would have reacted the same way. He's made it personal when there was no need to make it personal. You know, what happened in Baku was nothing. He's a year older than me. We only crossed paths once in go-karts in 2011, but as I said, he was wound up and frustrated before I even spoke in that steward's room. And I'm confident, no matter who it would have been sat on the opposite chair who just said the facts in the steward's room, he would have reacted the exact same way. What's your take on that? Is Russell doing too much right now? Or was it about time someone stood up against Verstappen's alleged tyranny and bullying? At least, that's what Russell calls it. However, Verstappen was quick to elaborate on the Russell incident in Qatar and refutes allegations from the Mercedes driver that he is a bully who has to be stood up to. Max Verstappen believes he is not shocked by George Russell's misrepresentation of their meetings in Qatar, calling the Mercedes driver a backstabber. When pressed on the issue, he claimed Russell dramatised their talk and dubbed the Briton a backstabber and a liar. "That's already not correct," he answered when asked about the crash danger. But you know, those things don't surprise me. I just give my opinion about how he is. Of course, he's not happy with it, but it's the same thing he did at the stewards, lying and putting things together that aren't correct. He's a backstabber. It doesn't matter to me. You don't have to talk too much about people like that. They are just losers. We had the last laugh because in the end we won that race. They may have started on pole thanks to their nitpicking at the stewards, but 300 meters later, they were behind us again. Verstappen was perplexed by Russell's remarks about someone needing to stand up to the Dutchman's antics, implying that his irritation with Russell was sparked only by their visit to the stewards, and not by the heightened competition Red Bull experienced this year, as Russell claimed. Why would anyone have to stand up against me? I did nothing wrong, did I? I just said I'm disappointed about his actions at the stewards. That's all, Verstappen refuted. It has nothing to do with anything else. I was very relaxed. I had already won my championship. Only, he had to be so dramatic to try and start first. He was screaming to gain one place. For him, it can make a big difference. He is mentioning a lot of things that aren't based on the truth, but that is what happened at the stewards as well. He insinuated a lot of things that don't make any sense. It's typical for him. People can believe whatever they want. It's just not true. I am always the same person, whether I'm at home, here, or at the stewards. You can't say that about everyone. When asked what was actually stated in Qatar, he responded, "Not that." I didn't say it like that. But you know, that's another thing. That happened behind closed doors, so you don't have to share everything that was said there and make it more dramatic. Something which Russell did, according to Verstappen. But who is right here? And is there even a right or wrong here? Or is it just a storm in a bottle? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.